At a meeting of the Cambridge University Boat Club Committee, it was resolved that Mr. Snow St. proposing to make up a university match.
They call it simply the boat race.
Oxford in the lead, I think. I don't know, but I think it's almost...
Yes, I'm afraid Oxford are sinking. They stopped rowing. In fact, of what effect, they have got waterlogged and are sinking.
Cambridge are coming at them again. They're trying to push them wide as they can.
My word!
And he's spurting into the finish as hard as he can go, like mad.
Just look how close this is. It's one of the great races of all time.
A new millennium and a magnificent new silver trophy. This is the new Aberdeen Asset Management Trophy, which honours the past and is also the glittering prize for this, the 146th University Boat Race. But the first important decision to be made is who starts from where. It's time for the toss. And alongside me, the two presidents, Nick Robinson of Oxford, Richard Stokes of Cambridge. We've also got Duncan Clegg, the London representative of the University Boat Race, and alongside him, race umpire Simon Harris. And I think you've got the old sovereign, which Simon is going to pass on to Richard. And I think Richard, as a representative of the winning crew last year, you toss, and Nick, you call for choice of stations. Calls heads. And it has come down, I believe, tails.
So the first man into the boat is the bowman from Eton and Lincoln. And here now, in the number 2 seat, Nick Robinson from Hampton and Lincoln, the third Hampton president in the last 4 years. In the blue boat of 97 and 98. Last year, when he concentrated on his studies, he rowed for ISIS. Third man is Benjamin Birch, Cheltenham College and Pembroke. Comes from Marlborough in Wiltshire, was in the ISIS crew last year. Now the youngest man on the water and the lightest oarsman at precisely 12 stone, Matthew Smith. He's 18 years old, won't be 19 until July. Smiling Daniel Snow of the Snow Broadcasting family in the blue boat last year in 99. As will this man, also in the blue boat last year, Tobias Eyre from Burlington, Vermont, who incidentally was the top Oxford man in the British Indoor Ergo Championships. From Norway, for the number 7 seat is Eirik Lilledal. He's rowed successfully for Yale. He's the oldest member in the crew, and he's doing an MPhil in economics at Nuffield College. Here's the stroke who worried people during the week when he had a little bit of a problem with some tummy bug, but Alexander Reed is fit and well, an American from Cheshire in Connecticut, and he is the third member from Lincoln. Cox already waiting is Kajsa McLaren from King's School Canterbury and Pembroke, for the record the 11th female Cox, in front of Kajsa McLaren.
Attention, go!
And away we go. Nice clean start with Oxford nearer the camera. Cambridge on the Surrey station. They won the toss and chose to go there, and all but one of their victories in this run of 7 have come from that station.
Oxford have gone off an incredible rate there. You can see it on the screen there, how many more strokes they're taking a minute than Cambridge. So long as they're efficient strokes and they're powerful strokes, that should make the boat go quicker.
And they believe that's crucial for them.
Yes, they do, but it's Cambridge who got the better, cleaner first stroke. I think that sitting for a long time on the stake boat didn't help the tension levels, and I think Cambridge got away a bit more sweetly. Oxford will desperately want to get on terms here because they're racing now for the control of the first bend. So as we go through the first minute, this is the challenge that's set up for both crews.
Down Fulham Reach, past the clubhouses. And as ever, big crowds on what is a fairly grey and chilly afternoon, neck and neck as they come past the clubhouses.
See, well, both crews getting out to the full length they want to row. They slide a long way forwards, they get their bodies compressed, we can see that. They then want to put the blades in as far out as they can. It moves the boat a long way. See that from this shot here, both crews.
Warning going on here.
And both, now 3 calls to Cambridge.
I think the umpire's very keen to keep them well apart. They look quite safe at the moment. Cambridge at the moment underrating Oxford. Oxford desperately trying to make sure they go into this bend with a lead.
And I think the cry then was both crews move apart. I always felt when that said that neither responds. But they're both taking a good line at the moment. This Fulham Football Ground just coming up on their right. Looks as though they're going straight for the far bank, but the turning, setting your boat before the turn is crucial.
That's right. Oxford here are trying to go straight on to hold their line as far as possible. Cambridge are trying to take the bend as early as they can. The umpire's warning Cambridge, telling them not to come across in front of Oxford.
Cambridge being warned repetitively, but they're really fighting this out. Cambridge are determined not to leave any room on this corner for Oxford, because this is their chance to neutralise the bend.
This is up to, Oxford caught a little crab there. It's vital that Oxford hold an overlap with Cambridge so that Cambridge can't come across in front of them.
Catching a crab, losing the stroke.
They're very nearly interlocked still, and they're both being warned. Cambridge being warned again. Dangerously close. There could be a disaster here so easily.
The other thing about this period of the race is this is where the 2 crews should be settling down into the sort of pace they want to go over the whole course at. I talked about the long levers and the power of the Oxford boat. They've got to get into that rhythm now if they're going to make that power count. This crashing into each other, bashing around, doesn't help settle down, doesn't help relaxation. Now this sort of 3-minute period is where both crews should be at the sort of pace they're prepared to go for the next 8, 9, 10 minutes. And if they settle down at the same speed here, then we can expect to see them stay this sort of distance apart.
Now Oxford being warned as they try to pull across a little bit. The bend coming up, of course, will be to the advantage of Cambridge, and how Gideon Glassman sets the Cambridge boat to take advantage of that bend will be crucial for him. They're coming up alongside Harrods now.
And the Cambridge Cox is calling his crew through. He's trying to push them back on terms, because this is the last chance they've got before they come into the Surrey bend to make sure that they can get control of the Hammersmith turn. They're creeping back up. I think it's only now perhaps a canvas. They've come back about 2 men, and this is the moment when they've got to get back on terms with Oxford.
What Oxford are doing here, they're looking to get an advantage to get up, because if they're ahead, it's very hard for the Cambridge Cox to push them wide. If Oxford are slightly ahead, when the Cambridge Cox steers, he steers into them.
It's one of the truisms of the boat race. If you can get your crew to put you in the driver's seat, being that little bit ahead, then you can control who goes where in this side-by-side contest coming round Hammersmith.
Now I think here the Oxford Cox should be leaning over. He should be right over on top of. She should be right over on top of Gideon.
I think certainly Cambridge are now back in contention on this bend, and as they come into the next minute or so, the bend will start to move in their favour. So we should expect to see Cambridge coming through onto top of Oxford. They're only about a canvas down. They're both going stroke for stroke, 36 strokes a minute, so that's right maximum cruise pace at the moment. They don't want to go any higher.
There's a push here from Cambridge. Dan Tweedy looking over. And they seem to be coming back a little bit.
We'll pick up the slight different styles, I think, when we come back. See Cambridge slightly more relaxed entry into the water, more relaxed faces. Oxford is a bit more aggressive, just getting on it. What Oxford are doing is effectively moving that boat along.
And the difference from last year is that both crews are rowing in the way that they would hope to do, which wasn't the case with Oxford last year. And this is a really tight bend here. Nothing in it, but the advantage
to Cambridge here, but they're pushing through. There was nearly another clash there. Cambridge are really going to try and make the best of this next turn. As they come under the bridge, they've got an opportunity to turn to the left and push Oxford over, and they've now come just past level. They've gained about a quarter of a length on the bridge there.
The Oxford Cox did very well there. I think she was warned to move apart, but she didn't go too far. just moved back enough to satisfy the umpire. Didn't really lose too much by that. It's hard to pick this up on the shot we've got from this one, but they're actually going around a bend here, so we'd expect to see Cambridge creep slightly. It's a matter of minimising that creep.
And this bend really in 3 parts,
yes.
Chris.
Well, we've seen the first major part. It's now rather flatter, and then they have a small advantage at the end of the long bend as well. And this is where we'll have to see the real test of the rhythms. If Cambridge rhythm is as good as they hope it is, they will start to creep away as they come around this second part of the bend and into the middle part of the race. The question is whether Oxford can keep that. You can see that rather more distinctive marked catch from the Oxford crew.
And you saw from the graphic that Oxford in the lead at both the milepost and at Hammersmith, just for the record, but they are side by side going down Chiswick Reach.
This is a sort of period where a lot of these people now will be in an area they've never been before. Most of our racing is 2,000 metres, 6 or 7 minutes. This 18-minute race, 17-minute race is not something we do a lot of. The boat race is unique in that. And this is they'll be starting to enter sort of unknown territory here for all of them. They'll be finding out things about themselves they don't know.
It's actually getting quite rough now. You can see the water being picked up off the riggers. I think the water's got quite a lot rougher than the Isis Goldie race.
There'll be a decision here for the Coxes to make where they try and get in under the bank, get a bit of shelter. Oxford certainly think they're good at coping with the rough water, but this is choppy.
A push from Oxford, I think.
And Cambridge, I think Cambridge are making what could be their last critical effort. They have got to get on terms here. They're making a big effort to get back on terms with Oxford here to try and get more control of this bend. Oxford will be responding because it's really important that they try and keep on terms. Still, it's only about a canvas to a quarter of a length maximum. Cambridge desperately trying to keep in here as they come onto the crown of this last bend.
Equal at Chiswick Steps, but Oxford with the advantage a little further down in Corney Reach.
Oxford now. The question now for Oxford, on paper should win this race from here, but what we don't know is what people have put in the first 11 or 12 minutes to get this lead. Looks like they're taking on a lot of water. They may have water in the boat. That will obviously slow it down. The boat becomes heavier.
Look at Nick Robinson there, the president.
There's some very tired rowing going on there in the bow fore, and I think certainly in the Oxford boat. Now I'm assuming it's the same in Cambridge. Cambridge looked to me to be dropping back a bit.
But it looks a calmer rhythm. The contrast is fascinating. Shorter stroke, but more powerful in essence.
Yeah. The water's really flying around here. It's amazing how much has deteriorated over the last half hour. Typical of what the tideway can do, but there's no doubt that Oxford are making their way through it more efficiently. They're pushing away further. They've got the better part of a length, I think, now.
Those Oxford guys have been in a lot of pain, but they know now that it's a matter of hanging on for 2 or 3 minutes, and that'll give them a hell of a boost to know that if they can, it's 2 minutes to go and they've won the race. Whereas Cambridge know they have to do something incredible to get back.
Under Barnes Bridge go Oxford, with the sight that their supporters have been waiting to see over the last 7 years when they've had to take second best. It's Oxford's race for the winning. Cambridge are pushing though.
They're certainly making a big effort to get on terms, but I think the critical part of the race was actually as they came onto this bend, Oxford managed to defend it and Cambridge couldn't get back. Cambridge are now steering an inside line. They're trying to just draw back every inch of advantage that they can to get back on terms, but they're going to have to find a great deal more if they're going to get back a length. It's a very, very long way to go.
About 40 seconds of rowing left before Oxford at last get the victory after 7 successes for Cambridge. They will put it up to 76 to 69. The sequence has come to an end as they come to the finishing post. Nick Robinson has proved to be the winning president for Oxford. The run has come to an end. Dan Snow said after the defeat last year, maybe you have to lose a race to know what it really means to get back and win. And Cambridge, after their years of success, this time have to give second best to the Dark Blues.
But now, the moment has arrived at last for Oxford, and this wonderful new Aberdeen Asset Management Trophy will go to the winning crew and the winning president. Come forward, Nick Robinson of Oxford, winner at last.